Interesting. Oh, it's not working. I think what's telling me I can't use YouTube and now it's able to use YouTube. I don't know what's happening. Yeah. Okay, great. Is it being recorded? Answer is it's not being recorded. Please mute your mic unless you are asking a specific question. Okay, welcome again, everybody. We're basically starting again. So we have quite a bit of people now. We're up to 87. So good afternoon. My name is Miura. I'm the major project coordinator for SCIT, particularly for the BSc computing program. As you all know, as I've mentioned earlier, in able to understand what is required for this course, 3 credit called major project, there is we're going to have a series of meetings. This is the first for the academic year. So the next one will be in 3 weeks. And we're going to go from there. So there are several things we're talking about today. There is just some basic understanding of UTech administrative processes. We're going to talk about how you're going to get a topic and a supervisor if you don't have one already, how you're going to be approved within the semester. We're going to talk about the mini Viva, which will be January 20th of 2022 in the Thursday 3 to 5 slot. And in fact, on that note, if anybody's here now or watching in the replay on YouTube after the fact and is requesting that they don't present during 3 to 5, they need to send that email about that matter. Don't just 2 days before say, oh, there's this crisis. No, unless you're having an emergency at work or an emergency, or you're having an emergency where you're in a hospital, those are the cases where but other than that, you know way in advance that you're going to have this challenge and then you request, right? So we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about, if we have time, we're going to talk about how do you start your major project. Now, that would be sort of a refresher what you learned in research methods already. But yeah, so let's start. So just a quick summary of what I said already. Everybody should do PRJ 4020, which is major project. Is required first to do computing research methods, which is RES 3024. So if you haven't done it yet, you need to have been enrolled now and pass at the end of the semester. So everybody who's going to do the mini Viva on January 20th should have passed research methods. You can register either in semester 1 or semester 2 if you're doing major project. I think that's what we said so far. Any questions about that summary? I want to jump straight away to the mini Viva. So the mini Viva is very important. It's required. It's going to be a graded presentation. So each group will only present for 15 minutes and be presenting to a panel, typically only of academic staff in SCIT, but technically it could be other people as well. There's going to be a final Viva later on in the year, and that will be of your entire project. So the mini Viva is really of a proposal, the chapters 1, 2, 3, which you should have learned well in the computing research methods. So you will have all of this semester to prepare for that presentation January 20th, right? And the meetings that I'm going to have, plan is perhaps at the next meeting or the meeting after, we will have the ethics chair come to make a presentation because you're all required to submit an ethics application for it to be approved before you start collecting data. Right? So collecting data will mean doing interviews, doing focus groups, sending out online questionnaires, etc., etc., etc. Those are collecting data. You're supposed to first get ethics approval, and we have a process for that. And the idea is the earlier you do it, the better. Right? Right. So I noticed based on that there are a few, I'm not sure how many, People who already identified a major project supervisor. Is there anybody here that's a curiosity who would like to raise their hand? There's a raise hand feature. Please raise your hand if you already have identified a definite major project supervisor and a topic. I only know of 2 of such cases, but I'm not sure. There could be more that I don't know about. So wait, the people who have already identified their supervisors are not willing to raise their hand? Right, that's interesting. Well, finally, we see 2 people. Well, apparently the people are very secretive or they're not here, I'm not sure which. But thanks for raising your hand, Abby and Mark. You can put that down, no problem, unless you have a question. So let's just talk about this basic abstract process. The abstract process to get a topic, you have 1 or 2 options, and there are variations. Either you propose a topic and you find a supervisor who that's their area of specialty or at least interest, and they supervise that, or which is more typical, you look at a list of the project topics, and among those project topics, you would essentially apply, because typically, and this is a topic that's, some topics a lot of people are interested in, so you would apply to the supervisor, as in submit a mini proposal in order to the supervisor. Excuse me, can you please mute your mic unless you're asking a specific question? And in this context, I would love you to raise your hand if you have a question. Okay, so you would apply for the topic, and based on your application, the person will respond, and that's the basic idea. So everybody understands the basic process? It's quite fine for you to actually approach somebody who's a full-time member of staff in Skit to say that you would like to work with them. Do they have any topics? If they even don't have a list, that's fine. Because if you think this person is, you and them work well together, you respect that particular staff, that's a fine way of doing it. So before I show you anything, I'm just kind of curious, is there anybody here who has a topic that they don't have a supervisor yet that would like to share it with all of us? I don't, maybe people don't want to share their proposed topic, I don't know. Is there anybody like that? Just curious. But perhaps if there's anybody like that, maybe they want to send me a private message, I don't know. I don't see anybody jumping to tell me that. So from what I've heard so far, there are 2 supervisors who have groups. Given there's only 2 raise the hand, those people are being very private, but maybe there are more than that. I think, let me look at this document I put together. I realized I just left off one. Oh, I left off one person. Hold on. I have a list to show you. Give me a second. So many staff gave me their list very late. I was unable to compile the list of topics until very recently. I just realized that there's one topic that I did not put on the list, and I need to put that person on the list. Okay, maybe it's in this. Maybe it's at the very beginning of this list. All right, just give me a second, guys. No, it's not where it is. It was in my UTech email. I'd actually want to share this with everybody's topics that are currently given in. Oh, interesting. I'm trying to. Okay, I am looking. somebody else needs to be admitted. No, that's not it either. Oh, yes, here it is. There we go. Okay. Let me share screen. Sorry for that delay. Share screen. Oh, there's an interpreter. Right, so hopefully you can all see my screen. It needs a little bit more organization. But here are some topics. So Mr. David White, the program director, has 2 topics using the cruise robot. That's a robot that's physically in situ, I think, for technical support or as a customer representative or office attendants, and using smart IoT sensors for autonomous navigation in Jamaican case. Lisa Faces Shaw has a project gamifying university students' engagement in remote learning environments. That's for translation. Remote learning environments is what we do now in the online learning space. And she has a description. The topic aims to investigate the use of gamification as a means of addressing the challenges. I can't see. I think I need to change my screen. Yeah, the challenges. People are coming in without real names. Somebody coming as iPhone. Anyway, addressing the challenges associated with engaging university students in a remote learning environment. Christopher Panther has a topic developing a smart smoke and fire detector. Mr. Panther is in the chat. I think this description probably needs a little bit of work because I'm not sure what. Well, obviously it's prototype, so developing a detector for smoke and fire.
IoT smart smoke and fire detector.
Yeah, man, you need the title needs a little work. So, oh, is that IoT? Something I can't spell. Yeah, I'm actually wondering, is that for all projects? But let's leave it alone. But Mr. Panther, IoT, smart smoke and fire detector. This project here is, there's no supervisors yet. So Dr. Sean thought the head of school sent me this information. And he also has security projects. Just need to look them up. So Dr. So this is supervisor on identified. Right. So Office of Distance Learning at UTech would like projects on a module reset application software. I think I need some description, and a Moodle data analytical tool. Actually, I think this should be like interesting. Not sure what would be involved in the module reset. So I guess if anybody here is interested in that, we would have to contact to find that out. But I could easily think of things that might be useful for analyzing the data in Moodle. But yeah, so this would need to find a supervisor for these projects. And then since myself, I'm interested in what's called digital health, actually other things as well, but in terms of the major projects I would like to supervise this year, anything to do with mobile apps, social media, and wearables. And I have here prototype development of digital health apps, for example, vaccination tracking, COVID-19 literacy, positive mental habits, and I should put physical activity. And then, for example, changes, mobile app. So one possibility, so an example of the whole thing that would be an example of that. Mobile apps, I think I want to change this. So this could be students and their families. The mobile app. You could also use smartphone. Like, you know, you can use the smartphones to track what's happening in physical activity. It doesn't have to be that. So a mobile app for students to increase physical activity during COVID-19. Something like that. But there are many other possibilities. Last year, I supervised 2 projects, and one was relating to business. What is this? Oh, okay. So let me insert here. Okay, so there is this project. Okay, right. So then these last 2, I'm not sure what to make of this. So, okay, so there's a project which already has students. So just to show you, this one is not available. So the title probably needs to be reworked, a proposed model to improve personal security using hardware and software, but it has a good description. So over the past years, we have seen the rise in violence against women, notably kidnappings from women across all age groups. The attempt to find and rescue these women normally end in tears. The lack of information to work with makes it near impossible for law enforcement to locate these persons. The over-reliance on the public's help needs to end. We live in an era where IoT devices around us can communicate with each other with incredible speeds. Not only are they common, but hardware can be quite cheap. So that's my comment about this description. Is this, the English is fine, you need some, it's a description, so maybe it wouldn't need citation, but if it was a concept note, you need some citations, and some of the language is a bit casual. Like the hardware is inexpensive and, you know, normally ends in distress. This is written like it's a newspaper article. So their solution is to combat the problem with a mixture of hardware and software, planning to use an Android smartphone emulator or smartwatch that would be equipped with cameras and a mic to collect important data that can invade investigations such as pics, recordings with audio, GPS location, etc. The software that would be introduced is a secured web portal that would pull the information from the database and allow it to be accessed seamlessly by law enforcement agencies. And then they describe the prototype in detail. So this is not available, but certainly this is a real problem and they have a real plan. And just make a reason why I just show this where I wouldn't have to show it, it's already selected. This is the kind of project that is what we are looking for in SCIT. Projects that solve real world problems. But the real world problems is that definitely women are being kidnapped, and if we can find a way to use devices in the public space to solve crimes, that definitely would. And then we have, so this one was done by Sharisha, I can't remember Sharisha's last name, I think it's Badiko. So Sharika and some students are doing this project. So it's not available apart from the students who are already doing it. And then there's a new lecturer's name, Mr. Horace Scarlett. His description needs a little bit of work. So he went really broad. So his description says advances in IT, and then he talks about, let's forget about what's there because that's not relevant to our major project. What he has, smart cities, blockchain, smart contracts, chat boxes, AI, and cybersecurity expert systems. I would call these general areas. So certainly major project could be done on any of those areas. But this is not yet what Mr. Scarlett wrote, not yet really a major project description. So this list is a bit short. And I'm going to make this available. Yeah, so the next step would be to have, if you notice, given that last year there were, let's see, last year there were, I can't remember exactly, I think it was over 170 students and something like, was it 43? It was a lot of groups. This list of about maybe 10 topics is certainly not enough for all the people who are likely to be registered in research methods this year. So and we're having a meeting of staff to discuss major project very soon, most likely next week Thursday. That's the proposed time. So hopefully we'll be able to get more topics to all of you very soon. But just to give you the general gist, you can email, you can contact the persons on this list as soon as you like. Let me explain what you're going to be doing. You're going to be writing a proposal. So since everybody here has done major project or perhaps doing major project, done CRM, research methods, or doing it now, you will all understand about the concept now, as in basically a mini research proposal. You'll be able to write up a 1 to 3 page paper describing the project that you would like to do. Really, the shorter the better. And in that, sorry, somebody's saying, sorry, remember now, what you're going to do in major project is basically, oh, one thing I should tell you, there are 3 different options. So either you're going to do a major project that is research and mini development, where you create some kind of prototype or artifact. You can do a research only project, or you can do research and what's called major development. So with the major development, 50% of the grade is for the development. What was interesting last year is that the 2 groups that had planned to do major development actually switched to mini development at the last month, because they apparently were not able to do the major development they had planned. Just as a general gist, just to know, I know that people are challenged because of COVID. We are making sure that we learn from the last 2 years and not make the mistake of having the presentation too late. So we had, because of students' requests and staff requests, we had delayed when the presentations were and gave an opportunity for people to present their final view at a later date. That won't be happening this year. What will happen this year is that the dates that we have set will be the dates outside of people being ill, because it led to problems with persons being able to progress for graduation. And so some of you here are planning to graduate this year. We don't want to set up things so that we're having a problem with you being progressed for graduation, aren't I right? We're going to set up some strict deadlines so that we're going to be on track for those things, for the persons who are on track for graduation. So this semester will be about doing your proposal in time for making a presentation of the chapters 1 to 3. Just remember chapter 1 is an introduction to the project, chapter 2 is a literature review, chapter 3 is the methods, right? And that methods, if it's research only, will be collecting some empirical data and analyze it. If it's research and development, it will be both about what you're going to do in terms of the approach to do the development, like, is it a rapid application, is it prototyping, whatever that approach is, and how you're going to do it, as well as if you're going to collect any kind of empirical data. Just since I'm just presenting this generally, just reminding people that not all projects need to have projects are not required to have a survey of people. Supervisor just asked me the other day, just reminding you, it's not necessary, it depends on the project. But all projects must have some data that you're going to analyze. It just doesn't have to necessarily be a survey of people, it depends on the project. So, any questions so far?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
The 3 options that you outlined earlier, would it
Oh, you
have
mean
to
the
be-
research only, research and mini development, or research and major development? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Go
Yes.
ahead.
Do we have to outline that in writing,
Oh,
or how do we like make it be known?
okay.
Like,
There is an application form that is a physical application form that as I told you, I resumed being the major project coordinator in January of this year. So I have actually moved a number of things online. So like, for example, the Viva assessments were done by faculty this time by actually online form. I think what I'm going to do is get an online form for the application. I don't think we have one as yet. But yes, that would be indicated on the online form. And just to let you know, that's one of the things that could possibly change. Normally, it doesn't normally change, but as I just told you, for example, a group with the supervisor's permission could possibly change from a mini development to a meta development or vice versa. But it would be on the application form itself. Yeah, so that reminds me that I guess this, so okay, let me give you the process. So the process would be the supervisor would approve you, and then you would fill out the form, and we're going to introduce a new stage this year where we're going to, hold on, we're going to actually approve every application in terms of the concept note, which would preferably be no more than 2 pages, preferably 1 page. And here's a reason for it, because you're wondering, like, what, a new step? What's been happening is that there are a few projects that are quite weak. Doesn't matter what the reason is. Guys, I'm sure nobody here wants to do a project for a year and then find out in May, for whatever reason, whether it was you or the supervisor or whatever the blaming is, that this project can't possibly pass. Nobody wants that. So we want a committee to look at the projects to make sure that the project that you're doing, not just the title, is something that is, yes, a goal, right? So we're going to put in a step to have a committee look at the projects, not just the title of the projects. So it is, you're going to contact the potential supervisor, give the person a written application or oral interaction, but eventually you must have a written. The person agrees that they're going to supervise you. Then you are going to be submitting the application form and the short description, as in the 1 to 2 page, like a concept note, to the committee for them to like look at it. And in this semester, you'll be working on chapters 1, 2, and 3. Just so that you know, it's not something to worry about. What usually would happen is that most of the project is really a matter of maybe shifting the project to make sure the project is on track. Sometimes the project is scoped too broad or too narrow, and the committee will basically help with helping the group make sure the project is a viable project. Does that answer your question? I mean, I gave much more than what you asked, so.
Yes, the answer.
Wonderful. Any other questions? For those who came in late, at the moment, really I have 1, 2 project topics by Mr. White, another by Elizabeth Shaw, that's 3, 1 by Mr. Panto, that's 4, 2 that's not assigned to anybody right now, that's 4, 5, 6. A number probably by Dr. Thorpe, which I did not put in this topic, so let's call this 7. And let's call 9, 1, 8. And this one has been taken already, 9, that's by Sarisha, and Mr. Scarlett is interested in a whole lot of topics: smart cities, blockchain, smart contracts, chatbox. These are just really broad, so he has been given a topic. He just said there's a whole series of things obviously related to computer science that he's interested in researching. And that's where we are. So does everybody understand the basic process? I hope that's a yes. Nobody is saying anything.
Oh, yes, yes.
Next question. So just to let you know, we are not going to put you into groups, as you know by now, to form groups of 3 to 5 persons. There will be no group of 6. I don't want to ask, no matter beg, no matter whatever. 6. It is 5, 3 to 5 persons, no matter what. Right? In some exceptional cases, 2 could be permitted, but it is 3 to 5 persons. Okay. And I got an email, or maybe 2 already, about people asking to form groups. Right now you're in a meeting with, let's see how many people are in here. I can't pause because I'm in share. Let me just stop share for a second to see. In the meeting is 97 people, including me. I think it's only one lecturer, so over 95 people. This is a good time in the middle of Zoom for somebody to say, let's form a social media group for major project. I'm not going to do it. And this is a good time as well for us to say, I don't have a member. Is there, would you like to form with me? This is a great time for that right now.
Ms. Muir,
Yes.
is there a list of possible supervisors who didn't give topics?
Oh, if there's a list, that's a good question. I have a list of all the academic staff. Show that for a second. Let me just show that on the screen. Go back to share screen. I hesitate on the list of list of is that being open? Let me share my screen for a second and look for that list. I don't think I have it open. It's open just the other day, so let me try open it. It was, did I save it? That's a good question. It's good stuff. Yes, here. I think I left off one person. I'm going to share. I've got, let me just, oh, it's waiting to open. Give me a second. So, yeah. All right. So, there's one person left off. So here's the thing about, a couple of things about this. This all needs to be one central place. So I'm just trying to put on the person who's left off of this list. Okay. Oh, it's here, but she wasn't, it was there, but I didn't put it in. Okay, all right, so, okay, here's the list. I'm just trying to think who's actually on leave. So I had left off Denise Allen on the list. She's not on leave. Denville Allen works here. Christine Anuli, Richard Barrett, Carlene Black, Khalida Burrell Batik, Arnett Campbell. All these people are full members of staff. Rowan Clark is an assistant lecturer and he is not doing any major projects this year. He did 3 last year. Sharisha already has one group and she is a supervisor. Tyrone Edwards, Eze, Mr. Eze, Dr. Lisa Faces Shaw, Sanford Graham is on leave until November, so probably he is not available. So I'd probably eliminate him at this time since he's on leave. Let's see, what would I do with him in this? Let's put him as this right now, because he's on leave. These persons on the list don't technically work in BSc computing. So Natasha Griffith, Akindele Hicklin, the Jones brothers, all don't work for BSc computing, even though the St. Jones may be willing to supervise a major project. I think he did one last year. Dr. Julian Jarrett is certainly a candidate. Cecile Lynch McKennis, Larry Logan, Janice Lynch, Dr. Nadine Maitland, Michelle March. These 2 persons are teaching animation. Ian McGowan is on leave. I would probably say he's not a good bet at this time. Sophie McNamara, myself, Christopher Panto, Carolyn Parks, Arlene Penrose Whitaker, Philip Smith is a possibility. Stephen Scale is a possibility. Dwight Thomas, Sean Talk, the head of school, is a possibility. Christopher Dago, David White, Damit Wick, Ranmayake, that's not his full name, and David Wright. These are 3 new members of staff. Harriet Scarlett, which I had a list I just showed you. Tanya Graham, Shauna Braham, Edwards. All of those persons, apart from the people who are highlighted, are possible people. I don't know if that is helpful. I'm a little bit hesitant to put this list on. I need to form, oh, so somebody's saying they're not in a group. Right, so 2 people are interacting. 1 second. I need to, I should have done it already. I already have a major project, what is it called? Google group from last year. And I was actually thinking I should just add, just put you all in that group, but I think I should start a new group. So I'm actually wondering if there could be maybe 2 or 3 of you who would like to be the rep for a major project, that I could send something that I do. Sorry, I don't currently have everything in one place. Like, I don't want to mix up because I have a major project group for last year, and I don't want to mix up the last year group and this year, and I haven't formed the group as yet. And a lot of things are not yet settled. But this is the group. This is the list. This is the list of everybody in Skit. Somebody had a hand up. Go ahead.
Yes, Professor. What I wanted to find out, if the person or the lecturer is on leave, can you still work with that person? Because my group has been working with Mr. Ian McGowan. He told us that he was on leave, but he's willing to work with us.
Along the person is willing to work with you, there's no problem. I mean, look at even examples from last year. Ryan Meeks resigned from UTech and he was supervising, I don't know if it's 1 or 2, and he finished the supervision. Basil Clark retired and he was supervising one, and at the end I begged him because of some problem with supervisors. He actually took on another one, and he finished. So he finished beyond the time that he retired. So as long as somebody is willing, no problem. In fact, it could even be somebody outside of Skit once the major project coordinator, who is me, or the program director agrees that that person is suitable. So you don't just go and find this person and say, yeah, that's not going to work, guys. Because anyway, as you know, you're going to still get the topic approved because you have to submit the entire concept note for the committee to look at. Good, are we good with that? So just the context is there is a policy that every member of staff, as in every member of Skit, is supposed to supervise at least one major project. That hasn't always happened, but in principle, but as a context, some persons are more versed on research than others. So you just need to make sure that what you're doing and the topic you're doing that supervisor is a right fit. So, any other pressing questions? 4 o'clock, we're on 1 hour. So I had a thought, we don't have to do it today. My major thought right now, in fact, let me forget the thought. I'm waiting. I would love to get 2 or not just 1, 2 or 3 persons to be a contact person that because I'm hoping that somebody here is making a major project group, or maybe it's a final year group that's going to be the major project group. But I would love that I could have an email for a few people who would reach out to the rest of the group, because I couldn't believe that in semester 2, when I formed this Google group, how few people actually joined the Google group. Even said they never heard about it. And we had lots of people come into the meetings, over 50 every time, close to this 90 number. And then people were saying that they'd never heard about this group and they never knew this and they never knew that. So I think it would be great if we had a couple of people who can remind people in other forums that this is going on and that. Is there anybody who would be willing to volunteer for such an activity?
Repeat, please.
I'm looking for people who are willing to be a rep. Thank you, Brianna. Brianna, I don't know your last name. Would you kindly send me a direct message or email immediately, Brianna, with your full name and your email address? I think you know my email address already, but let me put my email address right now in the chat to everybody. So what I was saying, I would love to get 2 or 3 persons who are going to be a class rep. Brianna, you need to put your email address as well. I said, okay, I said 2 people, but 1 person doesn't put the email address. So I want 2 or 3, but the other person needs to put the email. So my email for major project is skitcapstone@gmail.com. So right now I have 2 persons who are willing. So those persons are Shavine Brown. Brown, or am I saying it right? I don't know. Oh, Sabrina, Brianna, Maya, great. So you guys can all send me a private message so I can record it before I finish this thing. Yeah, man, I think we have enough people now. So Maya, Sabrina, and yes, so Shavin, Brianna, Maya, and Sabrina. We have 4 people. That's great. Somebody has their hand up. Oh, so Maya. So Maya, I don't see you sending me a thing in the chat as yet. Oh, there we go. So Maya just need to put your whole last name. Because when I copy it, I want to copy your name. Great. So we have four people. Very great. And probably since I have Sabrina's email already, probably don't need to put it in the chat. Thank you, Sabrina. Great. So back to what I was saying before. Yeah, you guys need to figure out if you want to create a WhatsApp group because I'm not getting into that. So for the rest of the time today, we're meeting again in 4 weeks. So let me see. I mean, it's all volunteering because if you get all of what you need and you can either watch a YouTube or whatever, it's up to you whether you come. But if you don't come and you don't watch a YouTube and you don't know what is going on, please don't come to blame me. But I'm available by email, see there. So I have an email specifically for major project. So it will go to email to that email because I try to keep it separate because major project apparently has a lot of challenges as it turns out. Right, so I'm just looking for the dates. I had them written out now. That would have been good to have them written. At the next meeting, I'll have everything in a nice slideshow. I have been just going from thing to thing to thing for this semester. And I really didn't have a time to prepare a specific slideshow with the information. I'll do that for the next meeting. Right. So in 3 weeks from, why is my calendar doing this? 1, 2, 3. So the next meeting is the 7th of October. So the next meeting we're having.
Using this link?
Yeah, I'm going to use the same link. Oh, what's that? Am I right? Yeah. The same 3 to 5 times. Right. So I'm hoping that when we meet in 3 weeks, by then everybody is now like, have applied or have made some progress. Right. So
Can you repeat that? Have a what?
I'm hoping that we have basically just over 90 persons here. I'm hoping that in 3 weeks when we meet again, by then you will have written a proposal of some kind and submitted to at least 1 lecturer. As many of you who have done that as possible will be good. It may not be able to happen for everybody, but it really is better that you do this as early as possible in the semester, because no matter what, by January 20, you need to have a research proposal that is ready for presentation to a panel. And that's actually quite a bit of work to do that well. I mean, yes, a few people did something like that in CRM, but to do it and it to be at the, we even have a, we have a WhatsApp group apparently set up. So you guys can join that if you would care to. Yeah, man. So the last thing I was thinking of doing, because I've gone through what I think is the major topic. So in a future meeting, I want to have the ethics committee. So the general approach is going to be that this semester you will be asked to apply. You'll be applying first to the supervisor and then to a committee. The committee will vet your projects. That vetting of your project is really to improve the quality of the project. It's not, and similarly, the ethics application is also to vet the projects in terms of quality, both in terms of, is it something that could do harm to either the researchers or the participants in the project, or if the research design is so poor that the project is basically of no potential value to society. An ethics committee also typically responds the applicants to say that there needs to be some adjustments to the project. The idea is not really, it's just really to is to help you to get the projects better. So for what I want to do for the rest of the time, so that's a goal. By the end of semester 1, you should have finished your chapters 1 to 3 in time for a good oral presentation on January 20th. That's right. Right now, Team Word, it should also be by the latest early January, and I'm thinking for this year, it would really be good if by December, people are putting in their ethics application. But let's take an example of what I have in here again. So there are two things. Go back to share my screen and go back to this other slide. So I was showing this list. So it could be any of them. Let's just go to my topic for a second. So I had a list here, prototype development of digital health interventions. And I had physical activity, which is like to increase physical activity among like university students or high school students. And I had vaccine tracking, COVID-19 literacy, positive mental habits. Let's take vaccine tracking for a moment. There's something called design science, which is focused on you do a design and you do the research about the design after you do the design. That's the heart of it, really. We'll talk about it another day. And if it is that a group wants to do vaccination tracking and develop an app, I would think that the primary value right now of a COVID-19 vaccination track would be to see how many people are really, taking the vaccine, coming back for a second vaccine, what are the side effects, and a number of things. And if it is done well, it could be useful from many points of view. I'm not going to spend the time right now on the use. But if anybody wants to do that as a project, that project would need ethics application. In fact, forget the ethics application. It would have value if you do it now. You wouldn't want to wait until creating a vaccination tracking app or website that you put live in March of 2022, because it's going to have very limited value. This is something that you have to fast track and fast track in a way that you get ethics application soon so that you could do the project. So it depends on the project as to whether, as opposed to a Moodle data analytic tool, I don't know, I was looking at it. I'm not sure that there's any urgency. Maybe it is. Maybe that is an urgent given, as we can see that there's some challenges in Moodle. So let's look at something else. What would I say is not as urgent? So like this one even could be urgent to some degree. So really all of them that is here, perhaps maybe this one. This looks very important, using IoT sensors for autonomous navigation. I don't think that this is urgent. So like it could be a really cool project that could have all kind of, real world applications. I'm not sure exactly what application is going to be in this case, but this could just go through the regular process where they have the ethics application ready by somewhere between December, January. What's been happening, guys, is that some people have delayed their chapters 1 to 3 and delayed their ethics application to very late. We really want everybody to do their ethics application as soon as possible. So if you can finish it by October or November, great. People have been doing that all the way into February, March, and then complaining. Let me give UE as a reference. UE has an ethics application. NCU has one too. Ethics committee. At UE, they typically take at least 2 months. It's a work process. And students complain that why we don't respond right away, because it's a long set of applications and it takes a while to go through all of them. So if you want to have your project and get it done, which I really suggest for everybody, that you get a good project that you're interested in and you get it done as soon as possible, because you want to both feel good about your project and you want to do something that could potentially make a difference and something that you could get an A, I think, or at the very least, you want something that pass and don't stress you out, depending on where you're coming from. And no matter what, doing everything at the last minute is not the way to do that. So you really want to do as much this semester as you can. So I really, yes.
All right. Question. So these are some example topics that we could choose from, right?
Yes.
Okay. Are you going to provide more at a later date? Just ask me.
Yes, so I was saying that we're having a meeting with staff next week, and hopefully by then I'll send some reminders for the topics. Hopefully by then there'll be more topics. But I also said that you guys would have topics. So I was just saying right now, is there anybody here who has a topic that you wouldn't mind sharing just for a minute? But maybe you don't want to do that. I don't know. So I was just asking if anybody wants to do that now. Oh, Matthew has his hand raised. Go ahead, Matthew.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So I've been having some conversations with Ray Williams, and the topic that he proposed was to investigate the viability of facial payments in Jamaica.
Okay, the what?
To
Just repeat it.
investigate the viability of facial payments in Jamaica.
Facial payments?
Yes, miss.
You mean you could use your face to make payments?
Yes, miss.
Wow, okay.
That would involve researching potential where it has been successful, such as China and other countries,
Yeah.
and comparing and contrasting how it would be, if it would be suitable for Jamaica and if it would be well received and so on, as well as how this could improve other sectors and so on, in the sense that working with the facial aspect, if that can be incorporated into other systems as well. So not only in terms of facial payments, but also just that modular component, whether it can be applied into other things, such as incorporated into Jamaica Eye or some other kind of AI recognition system.
Okay. Well, certainly, personally, I was a bit frightened by this idea of facial payment, but that definitely looks like something that would be a plausible topic for a major project. I'm just wondering, are you going to just find out the potential receptivity of Jamaicans, or you're actually planning to do some kind of prototype thing? I have no idea.
I'm planning to do a prototype as well.
I see. Okay. Yeah, that definitely sounds cutting edge. We didn't even know that people make payments with their face. I guess what they use the eyes as or is it the whole face? Is facial recognition so good now that the face is the whole face they're using as the recognition? I don't know. I'm just asking. I'm just curious.
It would be a live feed of the face, because of course
it's like a video.
Not like a video per se. So you'd be using your or the way I'm thinking about it is using the depth sensors within cameras to basically authenticate and ensure that the person that is actually looking at the screen is actually who they are, instead of not being a phone or an image. So you'd have to be able to verify whether by tilting your face to the side, blinking twice, or so on and so forth.
Right. Yeah, man, that sounds very interesting. I mean, certainly that just on the outline of what you're saying, it certainly sounds like definitely could be a winning project if you do it right. Oh, and one thing I should have said is that there are two kinds of prizes that will be in store for major project. So for the longest time, there is a Best Major Project Award, but I understand that a corporation is also has funds for prizes. So we should be giving prizes for best paper, best poster, and best development, and more to follow on that. So for those who are interested, and we're encouraging people to, with major projects, look at, can that project be Could it go to the Jamaica Computer Societies? Sorry, they have a new name, but I know the old name. So could you take what you do and present it at JCS? Could you take it and do it at an academic conference? Can you publish your topic in a paper? So I don't know how all of you think or feel about me, but I don't know if you know this. I'm very passionate, honestly, about research. And I think that it is a shame when some of the really great projects are not published in a journal. But that's how people actually acknowledge your work in academia. So I have a offer for projects that are really good. I could be a second or a third supervisor helping you to get your work published, because just transitioning a really good project into a paper that's worth publishing is a no, it's actually a challenging process. And I really want the best projects to get published. So I would love to be able to encourage that to happen this academic year. So I'm encouraging people to be working for best paper, best poster, and best development. All right. Any other questions or comments?
Question.
Yes.
Just to clarify, so basically what you were saying, the first thing that would really have to do is come up with a proposal, right? Which
Right.
is an idea. But you're saying you were going
It's
to
more than
provide
an idea, you know. So hold on.
well,
First you have to do, sorry, let me just cut you for 1 second, because my proposal to do something today would be to I was actually even thinking that it was one of my topics. I was even thinking of saying we could even use this topic, but I don't know what I was saying. I don't know if you all would like, because I don't know how well people learned research methods. Just want to get a gist of what we are expecting. So I could take this topic and spend a little short time and say, how could we take this topic and turn it into a good application that we're looking for in the meeting, you know? Would that be helpful, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Including the person who was just talking, because you're saying is that it's more than an idea. So you're definitely going to have an idea. So whether it's an idea proposed by a supervisor or it's an idea proposed by you, remember this is a research. The major project here at SKIT is a research project. So it must be something that is going to be either some research only project that you have at least one research question that is going to be addressing something that is not clear in the scholarly literature, either something that is not known or something that there's controversy in the area, or you're going to be solving a real world problem and there's not publication on it because people don't know definitively. Or maybe they even know, but it's not in the literature. That's generally the gist of it. I'm just saying, this one is already quite written up, so that we could spend a short time. So I think that I thought that might be useful, and we're not out of time, because just to kind of get a orientation again, a reminder as to what to do. So the first thing I would say is this proposed title is going to change, and you don't need to worry right away as whether the proposed title is perfect. Yeah, this is going to change, but it's not really, it doesn't really describe really well what is down here, you know. So it will eventually be something like maybe well, I don't know if it'll be a proposed model, you know, could be, I'm not sure, but it doesn't need a proposed model aspect. This is too wordy, but it's something like improving personal security for women using, is it IoT? Using IoT devices, something like that. I don't know. That would be very tentative, and that's still tentative because project titles can be changed all the way to the end, usually by the end of the proposal. So just based on reading what's down there below, I already changing the title. So something like Yeah, remember, this is a
I didn't mean exactly an idea per se, but you were saying that we should write like at least like a page.
yeah, man. So we're
Right,
doing
sir?
that right now. We're doing it.
So I was just asking.
Yeah, man.
That
That's why.
page, we would basically give it to our supervisor to approve it, right? That's what.
Listen again. Here's the process. And that's why we're going to have the meeting again in 3 weeks. So clarify the whole process. You're going to give it to your supervisor, right? And then you're going to need to give it to, as in it's through me, you're going to be on a form, you're going to be submitting your actual proposal, which is like the concept note, a mini proposal to a committee, and the committee is going to look at it. Are you following me? And the proposal will say, the committee will say, great, go ahead. Or the committee might say, this needs some adjustment. It's very unlikely the committee is going to say, this is complete nonsense. But because we've been having so many projects where the projects are going all the way to, right, so this description is a little bit, is a better description of what is on here. So I would say that this is my tentative. I don't get to my title yet. So I'm just going to go through this quickly because one person said yes. Everybody, and there's at least a few people who think I should go ahead. Raise hands if I want to see that at least 5 people here want me to do this. Wow, 3 people would raise hands. So wait, there's only 3 people, 4 people? Okay, at least we have 7. Okay, now we have a few people. Thanks. You can put out the hand because if it was nobody, I would stop it. Because if you all feel like you know what I'm doing, there will be no need. All right, so we have a tentative title. So this says, over the past years, we have seen a rise in violence against women, notably across. Okay, so I just want to look for rise in violence against women. I'm going to do this quickly. So I'm coming after this, and I'm going to this, and I use the scholar. I was only going to look at 2 things quickly right now. So I wasn't surprised here. There's rise again, violence against women during COVID-19. I mean, in Jamaica, there's also rising violence in terms of taxi. So, but there's rising violence. So don't have no problem. 183 people cited that particular article. So here's my, okay. So here's my first thing, rising violence against women. It's my first point. And this is my citation. Right? So this is not how, just to let you know, I'm going to get my reference list. So I have a reference list. This is references. So here's my reference list for this. And you all know that you just put this, right? So I'm just making notes. I'm not even writing anything. So you all know that it's so many people. It's more than, once is more than 2, it's going to be et al. So this is really going to be et al. 2020. Write a sentence. There's been rising violence against women. I know you could get into in Jamaica, whatever it is. So right now I'm just gonna take some bullet notes. I'm not even going to write it yet. So I'm going to show you the process, what you're going to be looking for. You need to make a citation to the rise against violence against women. So I found an article that is useful. Yeah, man. That's right. So that's what the article is going to say. We can read more in the article. There's evidence in Jamaica, there's evidence across the world, there's all this evidence. And so this goes to say now that there's something about IoT. So I don't see, I'm going to look now, I'm trying to get the gist of what they're saying. I think they're saying that basically that IoT can be used in violence against women. So I'm just going to my next search. As, yeah, that's what I think is the next major point. There's some problems with the points, but I don't know. IoT. I'm trying to think what I'm going to put. IoT. So what I'm going to do that. So towards a holistic ICT platform protecting internet partner violence survivors based on the IoT paradigm published last year, 12 citations. Not sure what this is, but it looks like it has that. And then IoT resource list, home automation safety. Where is this thing? Oh, this is this year. Don't have any citations yet. Threat modeling internet partner violence. I think that what right now they weren't looking at internet partner. They're looking maybe more general. Because here is sexual violence. But at the moment, we're finding more stuff about internet partner. So I'm not going to do all the work for them. So right now, let's look at this as a citation. I'm not sure this is exactly what the paper is about. So I'm not sure where they want to go. So let's just look at the article quickly. Let's just open it quickly. We're just doing this quickly. So we have a paper here, and unfortunately we have the whole paper. Remember, if you guys can't find the paper, you can use the online stuff on the UTech library, and you can also email the librarians. So we have here that it's a serious problem, something we know already, that's in the background. And here it is, we have telemonitoring, wearable devices. We have that does these things, this is interesting. And they tell you about the communication environment. So this is definitely a thing that I would look at based on that particular paper. So definitely that is one option for my paper. So let's go back to where we had it here. So other reference is this one. Rodriguez, and I love to put things in alphabetical order right away. And then while I'm at it, by the way, you can learn how to use reference management tools, which for most of you would make things a whole lot easier than what I'm doing. Because I'm very old school and I need to get up to date in the new school. Let's see why my thing is not showing in my ruler, but just to show you, you don't have to do this if you use the reference management tools, but no matter what, this is what you need the thing to look this way. So I have two references so far, and my point is this one, Rodriguez, these people here, is talking about IoT devices, protecting intimate partner violence. And I'm just thinking that I'm going to 2020. Yes? I'm just looking up citations now. We still have to write the paper. But the thing about writing the thing, you need some citations. So I'm just showing you, if you want to do this, this is what we'll be doing. This is the first step. And passing the paper, that's not the paper is this. So back to the topic, their solution is if they want to use Android. It sounds like kind of what that paper was about. I don't really see anything else. They have a thing with the heart rate sensors. I mean, I guess we could look for something specific like what they were talking about. So we probably want to find papers that, this is not the same thing. So we probably want to find, I've not forgotten, what was this about again? This is, let's go with heart rate, IoT, violence. So we prevent against this violence. Let's see what happens. So the same one we got again. Here's another paper here. It has, oh, it's sportsmen. That's not about violence. Not. What I'm wondering here is there is actually a paper here about IoT low cost heart rate employing PG sensors. It looks like it's kind of cutting edge. I don't see a lot of stuff about heart rate in IoT systems. And this paper doesn't even have a citation. Let's look at this because I'm thinking they're going to use heart rate. I wonder if this particular thing is practical, but let's see. I don't know. I really have no idea. So I was looking at it and seeing. So they have a low-cost system for heart rate measurement. The system is easily usable without medical training. That's good. Made for health monitoring people in rural areas. Interesting. So they have a prototype that uses commercial PPG sensors that can measure heart rate with accuracy, and the cost is below 30 US. That's not expensive. So maybe the whole thing is actually feasible. So if the heart rate monitoring can is related to violence. I don't know how, because I've never looked at this idea. So maybe this paper, which is not on that, could be relevant. I don't know. The point is, maybe this is relevant because even though in this paper they're looking at heart rates for some kind of health monitoring of people, it is possible. Like if there are no papers that show that we use heart rate monitoring for violence, we can say we could possibly say that heart rate monitors have been used for health monitoring and or inexpensive, and so it is possible that heart rate monitoring could be used for things. You can only say that though if there is a clear relationship between your pulse and when somebody attacks you with violence. I have no idea. I know your blood pressure normally goes up when you're under stress. Maybe your heart rate also goes up. So, I haven't been to medical school yet. So, and then let's go back to what I was doing. Let's share one more thing. That's one thing I wanted to make sure you all are super aware of, in case you miss this in one of the classes that you should have gone to. Don't know why would you have missed this, but in case you had missed this, let's just show you quickly. So you all know that on the UTech website, there is the library. You go to the library or just search for the library. You see that is a list of librarians. This is our faculty. Tracy Price can be emailed if you have a problem finding articles. So all of the reference librarians, so there's a chief one, Heather Thompson, and all for different faculties. This is a person for our faculty. They can be emailed if you're having a problem. Before you get the email in the librarians, you go to the knowledge portal. If the articles that you find are expensive, and you go to the online databases, and there are several online databases that you can use to find scholarly articles. Those include Access Engineering might be useful. Certainly ASM, which is for a computing database. ESCO could be useful sometimes. EMBLA sometimes. IEEE certainly because it has computing things. IET can be useful. Progress can be useful. Sage, Taylor, it actually depends on where your topic is going. So a number of these can be useful. And yes, it's probably a little bit annoying that you actually need to do these searches in different online databases, but I didn't create how the world is. All I can tell you is that when I was doing my master's degree initially, none of these things existed. Yeah. So the world is so much easier than when I was younger. Yeah, so just reminding about that. So if we go back to where we were here, I just reminding you now, back to where we were. I'm not going to write this now, I'm just saying how to approach it. The tentative title on the improving personal security, the concept note needs to say that there actually is empirical evidence that shows that there is violence against women. In fact, there's a rising violence. And we want to explore. IoT devices has been used in the past, recent past, to protect against violence, including internet partner violence. Maybe other types of violence, we can look it up. And so my next big point is that there is an opportunity to use these kind of devices in Jamaica to protect against violence. That's essentially the concept node idea. And then you need, aside from that now, yes, you can have the prototype. You need, in addition to have the same things you had in the CRM, you need to have the problem statement, the long background. Remember, like usually one page. The background, the problem statement. Remember, the problem statement is what I just have. It's 2 or 3 sentences. There is the problem. There is some computing components. So here my computing component is IoT can be used, devices can be used to protect against violence. And my third sentence is there's an opportunity to use those kind of things in Jamaica to protect against violence. So in the background, we're going to have perhaps a whole paragraph about violence against women or violence in society, and then 2 or 3 paragraphs about IoT and violence. And then we have the short problem statement, we have the purpose, we have the research questions, the delimitations, definition. Well, definition are not even necessary at this point for the concept paper. and a reference list. And the reference list need to be at least 5 academic references. Hopefully everybody knows what I'm talking about. So that was just a brief introduction to what we're expecting, which is the same thing you learned in CRM. Let me stop my share. Let me see. We've lost some people. We're down to 78. We had 99 earlier. So for those who came in later, been dropping and going, what we've summarized in this said so far, Mr. White had hoped to come, but he's in another meeting for people on probation right now, or it was on just general academic advisor event. What we had said is, if you're doing major project this academic year, you register in either semester 1 or semester 2. You are required to pass computing research methods before you register. So that means that you've either passed already or you're taking the semester, so you can do it next year. This semester, the goal is to apply to a supervisor to have the supervisor say, okay, A-okay, that they send in an application to a committee with the details that I sort of explained to you, and then you would continue to write your chapters 1 to 3 with your supervisor's guidance, and then you make a presentation on January 20th in front of a panel of typically 3 or more members. That's basically what I've said. And I showed several topics. I guess I could show them again. And I said that we got 4 persons who have agreed to be class reps. We had a WhatsApp group form. If I share my screen again, I showed these topics. Mr. White had 2 topics that are here. Dr. Lisa Faces-Shaw has a topic on gamifying student engagement in remote learning environments. Mr. Panther, who is actually on the Zoom call, wants to look at IoT, smart smoke and fire detectors. There's a project about distance learning with no supervisor as yet. Dr. Sean Soff is willing to supervise on security. Sorry, I don't have him in this list as yet. I have interest in combining computing and health. Pretty much anything you can come up with. Like last year, the group I supervised, they actually came up with their own topic. They come up with a topic of interest or even other topics, but I'm not interested in supervising more than 2 groups maximum. I like groups that do excellent work, and they usually get along well. When groups are just lazy, they don't get along very well. So I actually had, and by the way, a group I supervised, they have applied to the Ministry of Health the Ministry of Health and Wellness has an annual conference, and they just submitted their application to present or have a poster at the conference. And I think it's a good chance, given what they did. It was a good project. I think in fact, the major criticism of the panel was that they thought that the number of persons that were surveyed could have been more, but since part of who they surveyed were physicians and pharmacists, it was easy to get the patients, but to get the physicians and pharmacists in great numbers in the middle of COVID was very challenging. We have a project by Sharisha, which is not available to choose as an example, and Mr. Scarlett, a new lecturer, is interested in a whole range of computer science topics. And here are the general topics. That's not, all these are proposed titles for a project. All right, and that's where we are. And I haven't yet recorded, so I'm just going to ask again, even though I'm going to do it before I leave. Let me stop this here. So is there any question? Oh, somebody has a hand up. I didn't see Xavier. Go ahead, Xavier.
Miss Where will this be published, the topics?
Right, so I said I want to create a new Google Classroom. So I didn't do it yet. I actually have a Google Classroom for major projects, but since the previous year have not existed, I haven't created a new one as yet, so I should do that. I'm going to say this by Monday. I'm going to confirm to it before that. And I just got 4 class reps. I'm going to send the information to the class reps so you can get that. So right now it's available either by watching this YouTube video or it will be on the Google Classroom, which will be, yeah, man, the YouTube is public. It's public. I'm sure some smart students know already how to put the link in the chat right now. It's live now and it's available. It's not private, it's public. Anyway, the YouTube view is up. So it will be available on a, what was I got distracted by something. So what is it, something else now? I got distracted by something else. Right. Oh, it's actually close to the end of this. So I'm going to say to everybody, and I gave you all my skit email for major project. It's capstone, skitcapstone@gmail.com. So I'm going to suggest that and my official UTech email is smure@utech.edu.jm. That's my official UTech email. So you can look at that. So outside of that official email and the skit capstone, those are how you can contact me. The 4 persons who volunteered to be the rep, just make sure I didn't miss anything. Please send me an email, but I'm going to go back and look into this to make sure. I can send me an email to say, yes, I'm the person who agreed to be the rep. Oh, wrong character is joining. Yes, guys, I am basically finished for today, unless you have any burning questions. Mr. Clark, good to see you. Are you still here? I saw you just joining. Mr. Clark? Maybe he's not hearing me. Sorry, Mr. Clark is an assistant lecturer in the school, and Mr. Panto is a full lecturer in the school. Those are the only 2 other lecturers who are here today. But I was going to invite Mr. Clark to comment.
He's in the chat.
Yeah, see, his audio is not working. Okay. All right. So I mentioned earlier that he had supervised 3 groups last year, and he is not able to supervise a group this year for a number of reasons. So I was going to on the spot ask him to talk, but since he doesn't have audio, Mr. Panto, I don't know if you're there listening. I want to say anything because I don't have any other speech for today. I'm going to have a lot of speech for the next time. But I think
I'm here.
Yeah. Do you have any words of wisdom for the students?
Well, good afternoon, students. Welcome to this big step in your major project. I just want to encourage you to put your shoulder to the wheel and don't leave anything to the last minute. And I also want to challenge yourselves to do the best that you can. Don't aim to pass the module. Try to excel. See if you can get an academic publication with your name on it. That will be a big achievement, something you can show your children and grandchildren in years to come. Those are my few words of encouragement.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. I love that. And I would add the 2 things that you guys can really do that will be like, wow, is you can get your name published in a paper, and some of you really can do it. And the other thing is, some of you, maybe it's even the same people, can, like, in the last 2 years, we've had in skit people going on TV with the projects, and people going, wow, and TVJ even calling and saying if we have any more projects like that, they're so impressed with the projects. So guys, skit is producing projects that people are going, wow, and we need to be publishing about them. and we need to be presenting in forums even outside of Jamaica. We really have opportunities. And I also agree with Samantha, particularly about the don't just go for a pass. That is really, you went through your whole youth experience and just trying to see your way through, as in CCC. No, guys, you really should be learning and attempting to excel where you can. Definitely do your best. So that's my few words, unless somebody has a specific question. I'm going to stop the live stream because copy streaming link. Let's put the streaming link in the chat.